Hello, explorers. Welcome back. This is episode 3 of the Q&A episodes of Unbroken podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra Amor. And as I mentioned last week, what I wanted to do in this first few episodes that I'm calling the Q&A episodes is answer questions that I've had from or that I had at the beginning of the exploration of this inside out understanding. If you would like to pose a question, please do that. I'd love to answer your questions. And you can do that at alexandraamor.com/question. And Amor is spelled Amor. So please shoot me an email using the form on that page, and I'll be very happy to answer your question on a future Q&A episode. So, as mentioned last Monday, what I want to talk about today is our divine design. So, the question that I might have posed a few years ago would have sounded something like, I've heard people say that our cravings, our unwanted habits, and our cravings are actually part of our divine design and they're not a problem. How is that even possible? So that's such a great question. Thank you for asking. And here's how it looks to me. Here's what I understand at the moment. We are, as human beings, we have what people describe in this understanding as a kind design. So we're designed perfectly well, and we all have innate health and innate well-being, and at our core, at our essence, I guess would be the right word to use, we are peace, we are love, we are calm, and a very good feeling. And one of the things that's happening when we're experiencing an unwanted habit, even though it can look like something like self-sabotage. I mean, that was something that I felt, I must hate myself. I must be doing something terrible to myself. Why would I do that? When I experienced my unwanted overeating habit, and I would get really caught up in that kind of thinking, trying to dig down and figure out why I didn't like myself so much that I was doing this thing that I hated. And saying it out loud like that so succinctly, I realize now it doesn't make any sense, but that was my innocent misunderstanding at the time. So unwanted habits that we have are never sabotage. They're never something that we're doing because we don't like ourselves. We are, as human beings, always simply trying to feel better, to return to that place that we know is innate within us, that natural state of calm and peace and well-being. And to me, what it looks like is that the experience that we have of unwanted habits is like an instinctive drive to help ourselves to feel that way, to feel even a little bit closer to peaceful and calm and well. And because it's so instinctive, because it's so apparent in people all over the planet, there's not a single group of people who don't experience that. I was going to say compulsion. Maybe that's the right word. It's a little strong, but we'll use it for now. Everyone experiences this. And so when we look at that tells us that therefore it's something built into our design. It's just not a matter of our cultural upbringing or our geographic location. It has to have something to do with the way that human beings are designed. And unfortunately, I think what's happened in the old paradigm of psychology, which was more of a pathology-based understanding, like we're broken in these places and we have to be fixed. This inside out understanding, or the three principles as it's also known, takes the opposite view. Sydney Banks, who sort of articulated this back in the 70s, and lots of other wise people have articulated it as well. He kind of pulled it all together. What he saw is that we are, always innately whole and well. And so, what that leads us to see then is that an unwanted habit, a craving, is actually, it's two things. It's ourselves wanting to comfort ourselves and to feel those feelings of peace, which I talked about a minute ago. And then it's a second thing as well, and it took me a long time to really see this. It's actually that feeling of craving or of that, I call it the drive to overeat. That was how I felt it. It was a really unwanted feeling, and it was a tremendous amount of pressure. And the only thing that would relieve it would be to eat the foods that I wanted to eat. So that feeling is actually a call from our divine selves, our innate well being. And all it's doing is reminding us that we are entirely whole and entirely well, and that it's just that we haven't seen that for ourselves insightfully yet, and fully. And again, it can seem like quite a paradox to say that, and to hear it, until we start, I'll just speak personally, until I started to see for myself that that was the case. It it really looked like my cravings, my overeating was a problem. Like it was a serious problem that had to be fixed. It was causing me to gain weight. It was causing my blood pressure to go up. How, I would think to myself, is this not a problem? But it really isn't. It is as simple as that. That it's a call from our innate state of well-being, just saying to us, hey, just a reminder, you've forgotten who you actually are. And so I've heard lots of great quotes that really sum up this thing that I'm explaining now, not very succinctly. And one of my favorites that does it so succinctly is from Dick and Bettinger. And he said, tension reminds me that I have everything I need. And I just love that so much. And I think about it quite often. So anytime we get in, where we feel in our bodies a state of tension, a state of, feeling kind of crunched up and, like things just aren't right. And it could be in the case of having an argument with a spouse or being angry at somebody in traffic, or it could be the feeling we have where we have an unwanted habit and we're wanting to set it down, but it keeps cropping up again and again, and we keep feeling the feelings of craving and of wanting to participate in that habit. That tension is that call from ourselves saying, you've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten that you are innately well, innately whole, that you have innate well-being and resourcefulness and resilience. And so that's what this understanding is trying to point us toward. That's what we're exploring always when we talk about this understanding, that no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the situation, no matter how long you've had a bad habit, no matter how many unwanted habits you've switched, from one to the other, none of that has had any impact at all on your divine engineering and your well-being. And in fact, the persistent nature of those cravings are exactly the thing that point to how well we are built to how perfectly we are designed. So it can look like quite a paradox, but it's really, really beautiful once you start to see it. So I think I'll leave it there for today. And if you have any follow-up questions, anything you want me to expand on about that, I'll be very happy to do so. So you can just fill in the form at alexandraamor.com/question, and I'll be happy to answer your question on a future episode. So thanks very much for listening. I really appreciate it, and I'm sending you lots of love. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.